Candy, does Candy know you're gonna live? She just got up.
Wait, what?
The other Candy just got up.
Don't say that. Did she go?
She just got up.
Hey, Candy, we're live. Oh, whatever. You know what? This is reality. You know, it's what it is. We're gonna be okay. Just give it a couple minutes till she comes back.
She's back. She's back.
All right, y'all.
You see? There you are. There's a little bit of a delay. Okay.
Okay.
So, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. So I'm Sean Rucker. I'm the owner of Sport Bike Chic, and I've been partnering with Buds over the past few months in order to kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse of what goes on in the motorcycle community. So we started out with our Get to Know series leading up to the annual Buds event. But then we kind of kept going. We got to know a few other people and a few other people. And now we get to do something a little bit differently and have a women's virtual panel. And during this panel, we get to talk to a bunch of different ladies, first of all kinds of different backgrounds, and really just talk about some of the things that concern women very specifically in the motorcycle community. So without further ado, we're just going to go around, get to know a little bit about who's who and what we can do next. Okay, so I'll start off since I'm already talking, right? So I'm Sean. Again, I ride a R1. I've been riding for like the last 12 years or so. I do distance riding, I do kind of local riding, so I just kind of do it all. I have a busy schedule, but you know what? You all kind of make time for whatever it is that we love, right? I think we all have heard that part. You make time for what you want. And so this is no different. So I try my best to kind of get time in whenever I can. We obviously bond and fellowship where we can, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to someone else. Candy?
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Candy. I am president of Queens of Chrome Motorcycle Club out of Wilson, North Carolina. I've been riding for about 21 years, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the fellowship. I enjoy the love and camaraderie with the ladies. I look forward to talking with everyone and learning from each lady that's on the panel, and also the ladies that have chimed in this evening. This is a very good set that we got, and I appreciate it, LaShondra, for inviting me here this evening to talk with each lady and learn from each experience. So I look forward to it.
Awesome. Let's go with the other Candy. Or Nunu. I guess we'll kind of make sure we have that distinction so not to have so much confusion.
All right. So my name is Candy, but my ride name is Nunu. So you can call me Nunu. I ride in F6B. It's a Goldwing F6B kind of bagger style. Love it. I started off in the sport bikes. I had a little Kawasaki 600 and moved up to the big girl bike, as I like to call it. I am married with two wonderful kids, a boy and a girl. And I actually got introduced into riding by my husband. I think you all, or some of you guys may know him as Scooter. He had a feature earlier, previously with Buds, and he kind of introduced me into the biker world, and I have loved it ever since. That's actually how we met, was on a motorcycle. But I won't bore you guys with those details. But yeah, just being a female rider is something that I enjoy, and I seek to inspire other young women, Black women in particular, little Black girls, that, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it, that you could, you can do anything you want. Don't let anybody stop you, whatever it is that you desire, it is yours for the taking. You just got to put in the hard work and it's there for you, And that's me.
Excellent. Be nice. Let's talk.
Hi, everybody. Excuse me. I am Be Nice, or Brenda Servants. Most of you guys probably have seen me around. It's been a while, though, with the past year, of course, with COVID, haven't really been out a lot, but looking forward to things kind of changing and being able to get back out there and be seen and be visible within the community. But yes, I have been riding since 2005. I have a Kawasaki ZX6R, and I love my bike. That's the second bike that I've had, and I'm not ready to move to the big girl bike yet. I like my sport bike, and I'm probably going to keep it for a little while. We've been across the country, and still want to take another trip, probably across the country soon. But yeah, just like everybody else has said, women in the lifestyle is one of those things where it's like, it was kind of interesting when I first came in, but as time has gone past, things have changed. And so really looking forward to encouraging more female riders to be out there, be visible, and be present. So.
Excellent. Awesome. And Dion.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dion. I am the lone passenger on this panel, but I think I have earned my way into this lifestyle. I was actually reluctant to join the lifestyle. My husband has been riding for years, but I didn't really have much of an interest in it. And then I caught the bug. So that bike doesn't go very far without me on it. We're actually packing up this evening to head somewhere. So I'm excited about that. I am married to Herb Town. He is a member of the Nubian Cruisers out of Raleigh, North Carolina. So glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, welcome, ladies. And again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to just join and just talk to us today. And one of the things that I always find really fascinating, because I guess most women are, but I'm absolutely like pro woman. I love to see the rise of the women. I love to see how women contribute. And I think for a long time, we haven't always been recognized. And when you look at the numbers, we're 20% of the motorcycle community in the US. So with that said, that number is pretty much double from the last decade, from about a decade ago. So that's growing pretty significantly. So with that said, you can't help but look at the lifestyle, look at the motorcycle community, and look at some of the things that are going on. And I looked at this past year with COVID, and there was a lot of stuff that women were headed up. There were a lot of things we still were doing. There were a lot of things, initiatives that we're still driving, whether it's marches, whether it's just being present, whether it's the overall support. Right? I mean, you can't help but notice that. So the number of women riders, the number of women in this lifestyle, it's nothing to shake a stick at, by no means. And so I wanted to make sure that in any fashion that our voice is heard, because, with that number, with those growing numbers, we have our concerns, we have our issues, we have our different thought processes and views of what this lifestyle should look like and what we want to bring to the table. And as we look at the future and how we want it to grow, it'd be a great opportunity just for sharing knowledge, sharing information, sharing perspectives. When I look at all the ladies that are sitting here on this panel, we have the passenger, we have the mom, and we have the business ladies, we have all the riders and everything on here. Dion, I know you took the class. It's all good though. We're going to still consider you an honorary rider right now. But at the same time, I mean, when I look at all the things that you ladies are doing, and again, we also have a president of a club. So I love to understand how she got started and some of the things that she's seeing. But all these ladies are bringing those perspectives that are completely different, completely unique, but absolutely valuable. So without me kind of going on and on, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. So Candace, tell me how you balance it all. I mean, we talked about you being a mom, you work and you ride. What in the world? How do you even find the time to sleep?
I have no idea. As you can see, I am in my car right now driving home. I was telling the ladies that, I had a lot going on today. I had to go to work. We had just came back out of town for my sister's wedding. She just got married, so I'm excited about that. And on the way back home, my son calls me and he's like, hey, so I'm starving. What's for dinner? And I was like, you can't just wait till I get home. So not only do I have him calling me asking if I'm starving, I have my husband asking me when he's, what's for dinner. And then my little 3-year-old daughter is just like, mommy, mommy, mommy. Like I'm telling you, as soon as I walk through this door, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do a beeline past her. Otherwise she gonna take over this whole show. But you just have to remember that while you have other people to take care of, you got to take care of yourself first, right? Like I said, when I started, I was introduced into writing by my husband. So, you know, that wasn't that wasn't something that I was born with or grew up knowing. I didn't have motorcycle riders in my family. So, you know, to be able to learn, I took the class and being able to learn how to ride, it just gives you this sense of independence and like this freeing sensation. And like I said, it makes me feel like I can do anything that I put my mind to. You know, I feel like it makes me a better mother. It makes me a better wife. And it's just something that I really enjoy. You know, you just have to, you know, even if it's 10, 15 minutes, you know, take that time, do something that you love. For me, it was writing. So yeah, if it's a nice day and I made it back home and it's still light outside, you know what? I need you to watch your little sister. Let me go on this bike for a little bit, you know. My husband and I, Scoot, we've been trying to take some more trips together, just him and I, to kind of get back to that quality time. I will say it is very hard. It's not easy. But as long as you take time out to put yourself first, it just comes naturally. You'll know. And thankfully, I'm married to a wonderful husband who knows, and he's been riding since he was 3. So if I tell him, babe, I need a moment to go ride, he's like, okay. And whatever, he takes kids or he'll watch them and I'll get to go ride. Most of the time he coerces our son to watch our daughter and he wants to ride with me. So I can't complain. You know, I still get to get out and, you know, feel the wind, you know, against my face and stuff. But overall, I mean, he tells me all the time, you make time for what you love, right? So that's just kind of how you balance everything, right? Work pays the bills, family feeds the soul, and bike is there for fun. You know, it helps you keep it all together. It's kind of like the glue for me. So.
Absolutely. So what do you think is the most important part of this whole balance? I mean, you talked about certainly taking care of yourself, but then what? I mean, where are your priorities? But which one comes first? I know it's not riding, obviously, but you know.
No, it's not riding. Well, obviously for me, family comes first, right? I have to, it's as a mom, as just a woman who, you know, gave birth to 2 wonderful kids. I just feel like they're my world. My husband is my world. And so in order for me to feel my best, I have to make sure that they feel their best. You know, we make sure that they're fed, that they're healthy. And, you know, my 13-year-old, that he's done his homework and hasn't, you know, skipped class with this whole remote learning thing. You know, apparently they figured out how to skip class at home. Don't know how that works, but yes. Yeah.
So do you ever feel any pressure to stop because you have kids, or what does that look like? To stop writing?
I wouldn't say that. Well, every once in a while I will, sorry, I mean, we just made it to the house, so I apologize. I know that there are some times where I may feel just a little guilty as a mom. You know, I having a 3-year-old, you know, everything is mommy, mommy, mommy. And it's always fun to be able to hang out with her and play and just spending that quality time with family. But, you know, I also feel like everybody has to be able to.
Did we lose Candy? Did y'all lose me?
I think we lost Candy.
Yeah, I think we may have.
I think she's transitioning probably to the Wi-Fi on.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay.
We can hear you. There you are.
It transitioned to Wi-Fi. So sorry, I had to turn it off.
No, it's good.
But like I was saying, I have to remember that I'm not going to always be with my kids. Everybody has to be able to entertain themselves. Everybody has to be able to figure out what makes them happy. There's more than one way to, feel good about yourself, to make yourself feel, great. And so even though mommy is not home, or even though mommy's not there, you're still going to be okay. You could still find ways you can still play with your dolls, or you could still play with your video games. I don't always physically have to be there. And so just trying to, especially with the toddler, just trying to create space and to let her know that she's going to be okay. I'm not going to be gone forever. I will be back. This is just your opportunity to explore yourself and the things that you like to do, and also create that bond between brother and sister. They have this special connection. They're 10 years apart. So there's, an age gap there. But to see them interact with each other, it's like they don't leave each other's side. Like she will, in the middle of the night, she doesn't come downstairs to sleep with us when she wakes up in the middle of the night. She goes into her brother's room. So, I want to keep that closeness between the two of them. And so, if I'm not seen, then I'm not there, so just trying to create that. And as well as my husband, let him know, even though I'm not here, you're still, you know what to do. You know how to take care of kids. So your kids, you're just fine. They'll let you know when they're hungry. They'll let you know when they need something. Just make sure they don't burn my house down. So.
I hear you. I love that you accepted, you own all of it, because one of the things that I was always kind of taught in some of the stages of my life is that you have to make sure that your cup is filled, right? Mm-hmm. Before you're able to kind of give to somebody else, you have to make sure that your heart and your mind and your life is kind of taken care of. And so that you'll have the energy, the love, and everything else to give to someone else. And sometimes when you're burnt out, you don't get that. So, finding that passion and knowing that you love, a ride is just a ride away. That's a big thing, because it's definitely helpful to know that your kids are taken care of, and you can actually just go get your therapy, because that's what we all call it, a little bit of therapy. Yes. And keep moving. So awesome. I don't want to monopolize everything, so sorry, ladies.
Yeah, I do agree. We as women, we tend to always, care for everybody else. And, sometimes you just need just a few moments. My favorite, one of my favorite commercials, I can't remember who the maker of the car is, but it was a family trip. The mom's driving and they're listening to some toddler song, loop to loop. Oh. And the dad lets one go in the car. And so they make it to the campground and they're like, "You coming?" She's like, "I just need a minute." You know what I mean? That's my life. That is me. I just need a minute. So they should create something like that and put the, where she's on a bike or something, I'll be right back. I just need a minute,
Yeah. It's funny that you said that, Candy, because I literally said that yesterday. When I came home and I just told my husband, I said, "I don't know where we're going, but I need out." And we started pulling up our bags. And my youngest son, they're used to us leaving. They're older. I don't have little kids anymore. I have 17 and 22. And they're like, "You and Dad are leaving?" I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Where are you going?" "Don't know." "When you coming back?" "I'll be back before you start school on Monday. You're good."
Scoot and I are looking forward to that. We talk about you guys all the time. We're like, we can't wait till we get to be like Dion and Nina. We could just pick up and go and just, all right, we'll be back. We'll see you when we see you, But see, we're immature. So they'd be like, "When you coming back?" We'd be like, "Never. You're good."
We literally went to Atlanta and forgot to tell them we were leaving.
Holy cow. Okay.
So, but you need
order some pizza and be content.
They have money, they have a car. I keep the refrigerator stocked. You will not starve, I promise you. So But you
Absolutely.
have to do that though. You have to kind of balance that out. So I get it.
Absolutely. So Candy, are you going to be on this bike, this big girl bike for a long time or what? I mean, you don't miss your sport bike at all?
I mean, I miss my sport bike. However, remember when I told you guys that Scoot and I met on a bike, right? Well, he has this Honda 929, and that was the bike that he met me on. He literally tried to run me over, and but you know, that's my story. You could ask him for his side later, but and we've had that bike ever since, and so I've become partial to it, and I call it's my bike. And so when I ever have the need to want to get on the sport bike and, you know, ride around, you know, get a little need for speed, that's the one that I will jump on. So he can't sell it. So many people have been trying to ask him, you know, you're going to sell it? You're going to sell it? And he's like, nah, I can't. I was like, that bike is going to be in that garage for the rest of time. Like, it's not going over.
I hear you. Okay. So B, I know we talked about the whole balancing, balancing the work and life. Like, what's it like, you know, from your perspective? We have Nunu, who has, you know, she's married with a couple of kids. She's married to someone that's in the bike club, and then you're not in the bike club, correct? Nunu?
I'm sorry. No, well, I am a support function. I am an associate, right? Scoot is the president of Nubian Cruisers, who Dion's husband is also in there as well. So I am not I am not a member, but I am a support function. I do wear a vest. I am an associate. I do help support them with functions or gatherings and just help with their fellowshipping and things like that. So it's like a yes and no kind of answer.
I hear you. So what do you want to tell to all the moms out there, you know, that are trying to do it all?
Well, one thing that I had to accept is that you don't have to do it all. You do what you do perfectly, or you do it all and accept the fact that it's not going to be perfect, right? I love being a mom. I love being a wife, but there are times kind of like today, right? I had plans on going to the grocery store and buying dinner and cooking dinner and having it on the table ready to go. And no, I stopped at Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue and picked up the tailgate special. So no, I'm not perfect. I don't cook every day. I don't clean every day, but they're all smiling. So as long as they're all smiling and they're all happy, then that makes me happy. So you can do it all. Just, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just accept that it is what it is and take it one day at a time. You know, they will remember the moments that mean the most to them, not the moments that mean the most to you. So just keep that in mind.
You know what? That is so important too. Because I mean, sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to get everything just right and to think, oh yeah, I gotta do this. I have to be super mom. I have to make sure I'm here and there and everything goes perfectly. But you know what? A lot of times, you know, kids remember you being there. You know, they remember those moments that you share and the laughs and the guidance and the love. And I think those are the things that kind of they carry with them. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, they don't always need the birthday party. They just want the birthday cake. That's what they always remember is the cake. They don't remember the party. My daughter does not remember her 3-year-old Paw Patrol party, but she remembers the cake. She remembers the cake.
I love it. I love it. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you again for all your wisdom and insight. And we're going to shift it over real quick to Miss Be Nice. So Be Nice, you have a slightly different situation, right? So just to give everybody a little bit of a background, Be Nice and I are part of the same organization, right? And we also rode across country together on our little sport bikes. So we've seen all kinds of stuff, been around for a while, and I absolutely honored to call her friend. So Brenda Nice, go ahead, talk to
Thank
everybody.
Yeah, like you said, we are part of the same organization. I actually came into the lifestyle joining that organization almost 16 years now. It's been great. It's been eye-opening. The friendships, the trips, the events, shall we say, the parties, the things that I had never seen before I left home. But through all in all, there's so much to being part of an organization and being in the lifestyle that has helped me grow as an individual, as a woman. I came into it with, a perception, which I think most people on the outside looking in have, which is, it's a bunch of men and, they run around and do all this crazy stuff. And not to say that that's not true, but there's more to it than that. Basically, as being a woman in the organization, like I said, I came into the organization and my upbringing was very sheltered, as you will say. My father was a deacon, so I wasn't in church every Sunday, but almost every Sunday. So coming from that household, there was a lot of things that I had not been exposed to prior to joining the lifestyle and the organization. And so once I started hanging around and going to some of the events and things, I was like, wow, okay, this is eye-opening. Is this really for me or not? Because I was looking at it as, well, okay, it's a friendship, and I'll make some new friends and we'll take some trips and we'll go and travel and do all this lovely stuff. And there's a lot of sides to organizations, but I found my niche. I wanted to make sure that when I came into the organization that I upheld my respect for myself and other women. And that was something that was really important to me, because I felt like it wasn't a good fit for me if I wasn't going to be respected as a woman. So I made sure that I represented myself in the best way that I could at every opportunity. And I think for most women, being part of an organization, coming into the lifestyle, that's something that, if you aren't grounded, you may struggle with, because sometimes when you come into the lifestyle, you can kind of get derailed just by the perceptions of what people think you are when you say, oh, I'm part of a club. Generally, most people say I'm part of a bike club. And when you say you're a part of a bike club, they see you in one of two ways. You are the party girl, who is, the center of attention, head be in charge, as you say, or you are the female on the passenger seat who is passed around amongst, the men in the group. And like I said, when I came into the organization, that wasn't me. And at the time when I came in the organization, I was actually dating my now husband, and he was part of the organization. And so that was probably helpful as well, because I was able to kind of keep some people at some distance, that allowed me to get my foot in the door, but not feel so, overwhelmed by all of the different people with the different perceptions. So, once I got into the organization and got to kind of get my feet wet and learn my way around how things were done, I noticed that it was easy for me to focus on where I needed to be and help the organization kind of learn where we were trying to go. At the time, the group that I joined, it wasn't a large group, but it was growing, and it grew. We kind of did some things that kind of helped. And I feel like a lot of that was based on the fact that, the organization was kind of open to male and female. Not to say that, an all male club can't be successful or an all female club can't be successful. But I think, because of the time and how people perceived, like I said, bike clubs, it was important to be seen in a different light than just a bunch of people riding up and down the street doing wheelies and you know, speeding, shall we say. So, you know, like I said, I stayed focused on what my agenda was going to be, which was just to, you know, remain constant, remain consistent as to who I am, to keep myself grounded, but be respected, be committed to the organization, you know, be organized, because, you know, if you aren't organized, things tend to fall apart, and they fall apart very quickly. But I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, you know, moving forward as a woman in the organization, especially since I knew that there were other women coming behind me, that I wanted to put myself out there in the best way possible, because just realizing that, you know, I came in and I was already dating, you know, like I said, my husband to be, you know, that's not necessarily every other woman. You may come into the organization as a single individual, and, you know, you again, if you want to come in and feel like you earned someone's respect and you want to be respected, you've got to present yourself well, but you've also got to feel like you've got people that have got your back, so that you don't feel overwhelmed by people once you get out to environments where, you know, it's not necessarily the people that know you well, it's those that don't know you that tend to try you in ways that you aren't prepared for or ready for, or even wanting to be approached in. So, you know, it's been a journey, being a female in an organization that's co-ed. But like I said, you know, we can be successful because women tend to take things to new heights. We tend to pretty much, if we can, you know, kind of gather ourselves together and figure out the direction that we're going. And even sometimes we might have a certain destination, but along the way, we make so many things happen and we just soar. We tend to, you know, just push organizations and push businesses and opportunities to new heights. And that's the thing that, you know, as time has passed, I've seen a lot more women just be successful at everything. And so I guess it's our time to shine. And so, you know, I'm really enjoying it. And, you know, just kind of realizing that, you know, when you're out and about and you're just, you know, you're just having that ride, and you look across at the stoplight, you know, into the car next to you, and you see this little, you know, little boy, little girl, whatever, and they just kind of look at you and wave. And, you know, it's just such a warm feeling, because you know that it's like, okay, you could be me one day, you know, and you could be doing more than I am doing right now, you know, one day. So I always look at that as an opportunity to, you know, wave back, and, you know, and even when we do the parades and things like that, it's just awesome because the kids just idolize you. So I try to make sure that, you know, when we're out, especially at those opportunities, that we present ourselves well, because I know that they are watching, Nunu and everybody else who has, you know, kids, you know, that your daughter is watching, you know, that your nieces or, you know, your cousins are watching. And so, you know, to be able to show them something that can be just awesome because of the people that you meet and the places that you can go, you know, just the experiences and the memories that you create together being a part of an organization, and just they're just awesome. They will get you through those low points in your life, even if it's not something that's, you know, like it could be a work situation or just, you know, a personal private moment where you just, you know, you're just not at your best, or you feel like you're not doing your best. Those memories from those trips, those vacations, those, you know, just rides, even, you know, even if it was just, you know, down the road, just an experience that you had, some laughs that you shared, get you through. And it's just a wonderful thing as far as being a female in an organization. I mean, not to say that you can't be in this lifestyle and not be in an organization, but just being a part of the lifestyle, having something in common with a lot of people. You can meet so many people from so many different walks of life as you travel, and just be open to that, because you just don't know how much you can learn from yourself as well as other people. You know, most women aren't like out there, you know, riding wheelies and you know, stunting every day. You know, I mean, we do have some, don't get me wrong, we do have some. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you gotta get out there, and you gotta promote yourself, and just seeing that change as time, like I said, has passed, seeing new things come out for that's more so catered to women. So I'm looking forward to seeing if, sometime in the near future, you even see, motorcycle manufacturers more so cater a motorcycle that is equipped more so for, comforts of a woman, a female rider. I mean, instead of it being more so, okay, it's set up for the male who has long arms and long legs and, all this stuff. I mean, take into account some of, the female comfort issues. I mean, give us, a bigger tank or something so that, our Charlotte bag can sit appropriately and, position itself well as we travel across the country, things like that. I mean, just again, having, the apparel lines that are now more so focusing on women. You don't have to have a t-shirt that looks like it's, a nightgown practically. You can have something that's more so, tapered and catered to a female, shape, so that you can be sassy when you get off your bike and you shuffle your hair out from underneath that helmet, because Lord knows it is hard to ride a motorcycle sometimes and get off and be all dainty, with your hair done and your makeup is flawless, and you're just like, okay, this ride in the heat, I'm sweating. But, I know some people can pull it off, but I can tell you there's been plenty of days where I was just like, oh, Jesus, get this helmet off. And I don't even care, because half the time my scarf is twisted. But you know what? I enjoy it, because like you said, those memories just are awesome. And sometimes you just need that ride to free your mind and free your spirit, so that, you can move on, you can move forward, and you can take on that new challenge. So I really look forward to, as female riders are more prominent in the lifestyle, to see where we're going.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you now, you just said a whole bunch of a mouthful. Well, there's one thing that actually kind of stuck out among many, but it's like when you walk into this lifestyle or club or MC or whatever the case may be, that, there are typically two ways that women are seen. And I can appreciate that at this time we get to kind of break the mold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to kind of represent how you want to represent. If you want to party, if you want to be a rider, whatever you want to be, that you're not confined to someone else's idea of what a woman should be, right? So when we go into these motorcycle organizations, when we start to actually contribute and we start to drive these charity events and making sure we're giving back and all those things, same thing that motorcycle clubs have been doing in the past, but taking it to the next level. And with that engagement, with that passion, with that nurturing aspect of it, you can certainly see how it actually impacts the whole thing of it. So yeah. I think that's really important for everyone to realize, that you don't have to walk any path other than what you want to walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing better than creating your own path, right?
Yeah.
You create, and that's one thing that I could say for sure Black women know how to do. I felt like we were just born to stand out and to be successful and to create new ways of achieving new goals. So yeah, kudos. I support that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see women taking this thing, B? What are your thoughts on it? I mean, from this standpoint, again, I've seen all kinds of stuff, and it amazes me what I've seen, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah. What do you see women actually taking this thing? Obviously, you had that whole, depending on who you ask, a lot of times when someone says MC, they'll actually refer to a men's club as opposed to a motorcycle club, right? And so since we're certainly breaking those molds, what do you see going forward for our women out there?
Well, I think, like I said before, you do have a lot more women that are joining organizations. And I mean, I know there's still some clubs out there that are, all male or, whatever. And that's fine. That's not an issue. But women are paving their path basically to move forward, you can do this without actually being part of an organization. There's plenty of ways that you can, be somewhat like a support person whether that's you're, married or dating someone who's a part of a club, and really make an impact on how they move forward. And I think that's where a lot of women have found themselves in position. And so, from that, it depends on what you want to do with that. I mean, you can branch out, and as we see, I mean, there are a lot of social clubs out there, and I think that's where a lot of that has come from is, women were looking for an opportunity. Maybe they aren't necessarily the rider of the motorcycle, but they've decided to start a social club because they like doing some of the stuff in the community. They like being able to have the parties as well. So they wanted to show that, hey, we can be organized and we can do some of these same things too. We just don't actually operate a motorcycle, but we can still be in the lifestyle. So I think that's where some of the social clubs have come from. And, you can have your own opinion about, yay or nay on a social club. But I think that's where a lot of that has come from, is that, people are just trying to find their way. And if you're not someone who rides a motorcycle, a lot of the motorcycle clubs or lifestyle clubs don't necessarily take you in if you're just what we call a support person. It depends on the organization as to whether or not they will accept a member who doesn't ride per se, or, depending on, again, on the organization. If you don't have that one part of criteria, then, you can't join, or you can't attempt to join. So I think with that, you do have a lot of women that are looking for that opportunity to show that, yeah, I mean, I can, do what I do Monday through Friday, respectfully. But I can also on, Friday, Saturday night, Sunday or whatever, I can travel, I can be at a party, I can, do what I have to do as far as my own personal private life, and still be successful, but have a good time because I'm able to juggle all of those things. And that's where, women, we are jugglers. We do it very well. And sometimes we don't admit how much we juggle. We tend to just kind of just do it. But, sometimes it's nice to have other people, recognize that you do juggle a lot of things. And so I think, being a part of an organization, it gives you the opportunity to shine,
Mhm.
Absolutely. So, I mean, one of the things that before I started riding, or before I even became a part of anything, one thing I noticed is that, okay, fine, I see people riding, but when I joined and crossed over, I've never done so much community service in my life. But it gives you such a pleasure and such a joy in order to be able to kind of give back to your community in some of the ways that we've done. What are some of the things in terms of community efforts that you've seen since in your 16 years of riding?
Well, I mean, over that time, we've done quite a few things. I mean, of course, done some things where, we were benefiting some kids. I mean, if that was giving out toys, or, going to give them toys at the hospital, we've done that as well. We've done, kind of a little bit of mentoring for kids that have been displaced from their families. Oh gosh, wow. We've done tree planting, we've done stuff with the fire department and the ambulance staff, and of course the parades for visibility. I mean, we've kind of done a lot of things in the community, and you can see that impact when you're out there. I mean, and just, it's one of those things where, you feel like, even though I don't have kids, I have fur babies, but I don't have kids, but still, it's like, you can still just feel the joy of being able to, kind of nurture somebody else along and assist them. And it's not necessarily in a time of need, it's just in a time of presence. Sometimes people just need you to be present. So just be active. And that's, a lot of times what people are looking for, no matter what their situation or circumstance is, they just need you to be present. And so, being able to give and to share in the community, it's been awesome. It's been the one thing that keeps you going sometimes, is being able to give to the community.
Awesome. I love it. So what's your favorite ride?
Ooh, my favorite ride, my most memorable ride.
Sure.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I honestly, I have to say the ride across the country, from Wilmington, North Carolina to LA. Um, that was a trip where I actually I did it on my first bike, which was a Suzuki. Um, and nothing against it, but it was a Katana. It got me there. I learned a lot about myself, because I wasn't sure that, one, my bike wasn't in, tip top condition, but it was good enough, and it made the trip. But I did learn a lot about myself, and that helped me tremendously as far as my riding skill. I took a lot of stuff, and that's the one thing. It's like that trip, I love that trip, but I wish I took more pictures along the way.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do have a lot of memories from that trip, a lot of great memories from that trip, just because it was a trip with some friends.
Mhm.
And just to be able to say, hey, we went to Wilmington, the East Coast, as far east as you can go, and we rode sport bikes all the way to the West Coast. That was fun.
And you stopped to see the London Bridge and
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Arizona.
saw the London Bridge.
I wonder whose idea was that. Oh my goodness.
you
That was
know,
a genius idea.
this wandering girl I happen to know.
No, I mean, so let me ask you this much.
Of
I mean, is
course, it
that
was not a man's idea.
there you go. Well, I'm gonna tell you now, on that trip, I had to go ahead by myself, right, up to Flagstaff.
Right.
So, and during that whole time, I thought to myself, okay, am I going to be prepared to be able to do this? And sometimes people always ask or were coming up to you like, okay, you're female, what are you going to be doing? What is your protection? Is this is crazy, you don't really need to do this. And I remember someone, actually a Marine, of course, telling me, what's the problem, do what you do, and it's like, that was it. You kind of find that, and it's a little embarrassing that I actually need a little encouragement, but at the same time, you do have to find yourself digging deep and going beyond the stereotype and
Mhm.
pushing yourself a little bit more. Now, I mean, during this trip, I will say that I also learned a little bit, right? I mean, not too often that you can say that you rode across country and half the time you had cotton balls in your britches. We're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that alone. But at the same time, it tested my will, and I mean, it tested my endurance. And I didn't think I was going to be doing that at any point in my life to that extent.
Mhm.
So I think anytime a woman actually gets on a motorcycle, first of all, that's the ultimate sense of power, and that's the ultimate sense of freedom that I can see. And I mean, it's not just a brave thing and a courageous thing, but I just love to see it, because it's almost like room for the underdog. There's no way that women are ever an underdog, but in that society sense, in that stereotypical sense, you don't
Right.
always expect it so much, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah,
hear you when you say,
cross country, because most
yeah,
people, it's that intimidating factor. It's that idea that, oh well, is this smart? You're going to travel by yourself. Why would you want to do that? What's going to happen if this happens? What are you going to do if this happens? And I mean, you let those thoughts creep into your mind, and they will stop you dead in your tracks from doing what you can do. And
right.
that's the thing about that trip. I really, even though, yeah, I was traveling with the rest of the guys, but still, it was a trip that I really learned a lot about myself as far as being a writer, and it strengthened my writing capability. And every time I remind myself, it's like, okay, I haven't been writing that much. I need a long distance trip, because that just
Mhm.
makes me a stronger writer, and it makes me a more, devoted person to what I'm trying to do. And it seems like I just come back from that trip, yes, it's a vacation, but I come back, I'm so empowered to move forward with whatever else I'm working on. And
Mhm.
so, with COVID, I'm feeling a little down. I need a long distance trip.
I know, right? Yes, indeed. So what would you tell a woman who, well, I'm gonna take this in two parts, right? What would you tell a woman that's considering riding, but also what advice would you give a woman that's considering like joining a club or a lifestyle?
Me?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
As far as, well, one, any female that is interested in joining a club, do your research. Don't be afraid to, kind of observe. Don't necessarily, well, I take that back. I will say ask some questions, but be mindful of who you ask and how you ask. Really, women, you can assess things by watching. And if you just give yourself the time and the opportunity to watch and observe, you'll figure out what you need to know. Because sometimes when you ask questions, and I'm, you can ask a question of a man and a female, in the same organization, you're going to get a totally different response, just because their experience is different. So I would recommend, if you're looking at joining an organization, observe that organization, observe how they get around, how they go, and how do they show up. I mean, do they show up as a group? I mean, if it's a group of like 30 members but you only see 5, okay, what's going on? But you can't just make that observation based on one experience. You have to kind of take your time and really investigate, really watch, hang around. Go to events where you think they would be, go to events that you think they may not be at. It may surprise you. But yeah, do your research. That would be my biggest tip, is do your research, but just take your time.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, because that whole prospecting period, it's not just about, whether you're a good fit for them, but then you get to decide, honestly, whether they're a good fit for you too. And I have some agreement on the little chat on YouTube. So we have agreement that's saying right now, your exact words be, hang around them first, because that's a huge deal. FaceTime, being your presence. Again, that goes all back to presence. You get to actually understand and see who you're around and see their habits and see how they move. It's one thing to talk one way, but when you start walking that way, it's completely different. And what she say, see if the club or bike life is really a fit for you. Now those words right there, that's real talk. Because sometimes after hanging around people, you're like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want the protocol. I don't want to pay no dues. I want to ride what I want to ride. Sometimes it's just not for everybody.
Yeah, because being part of an organization, I mean, it's almost like being in a second relationship, a marriage or whatever. You have to be committed, and it's not going to always go your way. So sometimes when there's, votes or discussions about, moving a certain way or not moving a certain way, you may feel one way and the majority feels another way. And so you have to be willing to bend and to allow things to happen. And sometimes it's just not what you wanted. So you have to be open-minded. You have to give it an opportunity. And that's why it is best to take your time and just kind of really see if they are, the organization, the established members are people that you can work with. Because if they're not, then it's best for you to keep your happiness and move forward. Because otherwise they will just kill your joy, and you will probably kill theirs as well.
Absolutely. And I have another comment from Miss Freebie, and she said, if you're married or in relationship or family, get their input on it. That's a good point. Get their input on it, because their conflict at home can sometimes affect the participation with the club. And that's absolutely true. You got to keep home happy, and you got to figure a way to kind of mesh and blend that whole thing together. Because if mama ain't happy, this whole thing about to be burned down. Not literally, of course, I'm just saying. So very good points. So I love it, B. So thank you very much for that passion and your insight. And we're going to transition from a different perspective, but at the same time, somebody that's also a part of a motorcycle club, but she's actually the president of one. So Miss Candy, talk to
It's me. Hey. So again, I'm Candy, Queens of Chrome Motorcycle Club president. I've been riding for 20 years. I started off as a passenger, and I just want to tell you guys, you ladies, when I started, my sister and I was a passenger. My sister and I went down to Bike Fest. It was back in '98. And my sister Lucky, bless her heart, told me, when we come back, we ain't come back on no back seat. We're gonna have our own motorcycle. So my biggest thing at the time with my sister and I wanting to be a motorcycle rider is the safety course. And I thank God for Buzz Foundation, North Carolina Bike Safe. That course helped us learn the safety aspect of the ride. And today, 20 years later, that's what we instill into our organization. That's in our bylaws, North Carolina Bike Safe. We have annual training. We do this because the number one thing that you need to know when you're on that ride, while you're riding, is safety. That you're going to go from point A to point B and back to A, to your family, your significant other. It is very important. So with that being said, I just was trying to think of what can I talk about with safety, because it is so much that we can sit here and discuss. So one thing that I would say, riding is therapeutic. I love it. Having a bad day at work, at home, I get on my bike, it clears my mind. You can't think about anything else while you're on that bike but what you got in front of you. And it's therapeutic. And I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes it's better than sex. This lady's on the phone. We all grown. Sometimes it's better than sex. And with that being said, when you're doing the do, you better wear protection. Am I lying, ladies? You gotta have that protection because it's safety. It's safety, y'all. And so you got the wind in your hair and you got the sun in your face. You got to have on the right helmet. You got to have the right shoes, pants, jacket, but not just any old kind of stuff. You got to have safety shoes, the type of riding boots that's going to protect our pretty feet. We don't want to have no rock infested feet when we come around our man. We got to protect our feet out there on that road. And one thing that I know is that a good boot will stop 450 pounds on impact. I have seen it for myself. I'm going to tell y'all a story. What happened to me last year for my birthday. My sister and I, we mounting up. We going down a mile marker 1. For my riders, y'all know that is the ride you want to go to when it's cold in North Carolina. So we going down there for my birthday. We mounted up. We heading on down. One thing you need to know when you're on the ground riding, get ready to go somewhere, get your stuff serviced. Don't get out there messing around and not know what you got between your legs. That's just me. And then we riding and we get off on the exit. It's dark now. It's about 7:00. And we were with 2 other ladies, and the road was a 2-lane road. Now, mind you, it's dark. We in Florida by now. Heading on down. We got about a couple more hours and we're going to stop for the night. So I pull up beside my sister and I say, she said, what's going on? The girls have stopped back there. I said, I don't know. I said, well, let's keep on going. We're going to go to the next thing. And I rode off. I look back. I'm demonstrating. I look back. I see one headlight. Not a motorcycle headlight. It was a truck. 1500 Ram, Dodge Ram. That bad boy came around this other car that was stopped in the right lane. And my sister was in the left lane. 55 miles an hour, hit her. We in Daytona now. Orlando, I meant to say. So I look back. I didn't turn around. I jumped on my bike and I started running back up to where she was at. She's okay. My sister's a soldier. She's the founder of the organization. She's the biggest person. If you ever want to know something about some safety, fire protection, or whatever, you need to talk to Lucky. But beside the point of that, when I got there, she was laying on the ground. But let me tell you something. My sister, we in Florida now. She had a full face helmet on. She had a motorcycle riding jeans, jacket, and boots. The bike was gone. It was over there about 4 feet down on the side. She on this side, helmet over there. But you know what it taught me? Every time something happens, it teaches you something. You don't fall short with safety, and that's still between your legs. You can't do it. You might leave your wig at home, but damn sure don't leave their motorcycle safety gear. You understand what I'm saying? It's important. It saved her life. When we went to the bike fest, people riding around with no helmet. To each his own what you do. You're riding there with no helmet on. You got your booty shorts and your flip-flops. What about if that Dodge Ram would have hit them with some flip-flops, booty shorts, and no helmet? We've been doing a GoFundMe. You understand what I'm saying? Safety is the most important thing when it comes down to this lifestyle. And every time you get on the road, you think about that. And it'll bring you from point A to point B and back to point A.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, honey. I'm glad you enjoyed that little session of mine because I had a whole lot more we could have talked about, but yeah.
If you ride long enough, you'll have that moment where you have that reality check. I mean, whether, like you said, it happened to your sister, it could happen to you, it could happen to your sister, to somebody that you just know. You have that reality check. And that's, I mean, it's happened to me where it's like, okay, this happened to them and I see what could have happened. Thank God they're still here. But what if they weren't?
Right.
You know, like you said, you could have been doing the GoFundMe and you know, I mean, we all know if you've ridden long enough, we all know somebody who's been in an accident and they may have come out with, you know, with some injuries. They may have come out with some lifelong injuries. And then some of them didn't make it.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing that you have to keep a perspective of is just understanding what you're dealing with, but you've got to do the most you can to try to protect yourself at all times.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree, and I know that's one of the reasons that some of the businesses around. I don't want to do a plug for mine, but I mean I'm a firm believer. I think we all, just like you're saying, B, and we've all known somebody that's actually had that experience, and you know, having some protective gear, the stuff that fits, it means a lot. It means a lot. And if anyone's ever spent some time in the ER or in the hospital bed, it doesn't feel good, you know? So, I mean, when you're wondering like, okay, how much is it going to be? You know, you look at the hospital bills, you look at the recovery time, you look at the time off of work. There's so many things that go into this whole thing about safety that, you know, just putting on some boots and putting on a helmet, you know, it's not, I don't care how hot it is. It's either that or the rest of the consequences potentially, because that wasn't your sister's fault.
No.
You know?
The thing is, with technology now, the helmets, the jackets, the jeans, they are all weather. You have different styles now. It's not just like back in the day when we started in the 90s and we riding and you got one particular helmet that you have to wear and you're sweating to death in the summer. You got helmets that have the breathable helmets, the jackets with the Kevlar in it, but it's still, you can wear it during warm seasons and things like that. It is so much out there that people fail to just say, well, I'm not wearing no boots because they're hot. But I would rather wear boots and have my toes or be able to hold that bike up when I have to suddenly stop. You know, hey, we use our feet every day.
Right.
Up or down, you're going to use your feet. And so protect yourself. And then when you get where you're going, put your Crocs on. That's what my girls do. In our bylaws is safety. And it is a whole dissertation. She's the founder of the organization. She has pages of just talking about safety because it is so important to know that, just like you know your social security number, what you need to have, what you need to, you know, bring along on trips, what things work best for you. There's no option when it comes to safety in your life. It's just not. It's a really, really very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, because you guys probably have, those requirements already in your bylaws, and that's how you've moved for so long, that probably helped, you kind of work through what you had to do, when this whole accident happened. If you're ill prepared, and something like this happens, everybody around you is scrambling, trying to figure out what do we do next?
Right.
What's the appropriate call? Where do we go? And then you've got to get beyond the, okay, luckily she wasn't hurt, but if she had been, then you've got to get through what to do with that whole situation and how are you getting back home and all of that. But see, when you prepare and you think through what you're about to deal with, then you have things in place. It may not be perfection, but
Right.
you ready to kind of face the challenge and get through it. And
Mhm.
everybody's not frantic trying to figure out who's supposed to call, who was supposed to do this, who was supposed to do that, and who's supposed to move next because, this happened.
Right. That's right. And actually she broke a leg and she had to get pins and plates in her leg, but she is back riding now. And the thing that was kind of it was difficult, but I had to ride back home. Even though
Mhm.
I got the miles there, you still got to get back.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to get yourself together mentally
Mm-hmm.
to take that ride back.
Mm-hmm.
And she was when she got to the ER, she looked at me, she said, "You ain't going down to mile marker zero, girl. If you don't hush, no, I ain't going nowhere. I'm here with my sister." But it's just the fact that you have to mentally, you have to be prepared
Mhm.
on that road as well.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that did happen when you guys were traveling out of state, and that's unfortunate. But that can happen when you are, 5 minutes from your
That's
house.
true.
So
Yes.
you have to prepare for that ride just as well.
Hmm.
Mhm. You know what? I mean, you mentioned that, and I mean, very valid point. When you're actually traveling out of state, what kind of precautions do you ladies take when it comes down to safety? Like, what's your backup plan? Do you just have someone on standby? What about the bikes? What are some of those ideas that you ladies have?
So we do have AAA. We do have some ladies that trailer behind us, like the
Mhm.
support function that Candy
Right.
was talking about. So we do have a social club that helps out with that.
Okay.
Pretty much, we have the Harley ESP, the roadside assistance. You have to have those things as well because my vice president and I rode to Killeen, Texas last year, but we didn't have a trailer
Mhm.
behind us. It was just we was out there. And so if anything would have occurred, we have the AAA or we have people that know we're coming through the states. And that's part of being in a motorcycle community, knowing
Mhm.
where people are, having those contacts, being able
Mhm.
to call and contact people like, "Hey, I'm coming your way. I'm coming through," just so if anything does happen and you do need to reach out, you can. And so, yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. No, I think that's huge, and definitely the support vehicles, those definitely help out because you just never know what happens. But I mean, great example of if you're going someplace, let people know you're going.
Yeah.
Let people know where you're going to go, approximate mileage or approximate gas stops, so they can check on you. Or you just kind of, hey, I have a checkpoint here. All right, I'm here, I'm done. Or put in a group me chat like some folks do. But it's tons of ways to actually keep in touch with folks to just make sure that you're safe and you
Yes.
have some alternatives if the worst happens.
Mhm.
So do you ladies also have the things where once you get home from a bike ride that you kind of text each other that you're safe, or how does that work?
So we have an app and we have a Queens of Chrome. Everyone should, if you riding, do a lot of long distance rides. I don't know if y'all can see it, but Life 360. That's how one of the girls knew. You can see all my
Mhm.
girls, and that's how we track each other. We know when we're moving. We can see where we're at.
Mhm.
Just like next weekend, we're going to Daytona. We have different trains that are going out or different groups that are going out different ways. Some are leaving on Wednesday. They're going to link up here, and we can see that
Right.
when the founder was in the accident, our member that stays in Chalkawinity, she's in Chalkawinity. She had an accident alert from Life 360. She knew that something wasn't right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But so those type of things help us to keep that communication line open as well with the members that are staying back home. That's how we do it. And then we have our chats, of course, but that's how we kind of track each other, and we keep it open. Unless you're going over your boo thing house, you can cut it off. But other than that, you can keep your lines open because I need to see where you at. Okay. But okay. I'm that president. I am. I'm sorry.
I'm all right
nosy.
with
Okay.
Awesome. So you just took me totally off guard. I don't even know what to say no more. So let me just take a moment. But so what kind of advice would you give to anyone who's just looking for gear or just looking to ride? You know, obviously take the MSF. Anything else?
One thing that I always say the road, it doesn't have any feelings, it don't have any emotions. You want to prepare yourself for that ride, but you also want to prepare yourself for that slide.
Yes.
Most bikers say that because if you haven't been down, you may have know somebody that has been down, and just learn from it. Read, learn what kind of gear you need to have. Google, Google the reviews on different um motorcycle gear and what to wear and what type of fit you need to look for. Go to Sport Bike Chick. I went up there today. Matter of fact, look at some jeans, some booty jeans, girl. Those jeans, and knowing that Kevlar will save your skin. That's what, things like that. Learning those different, you know, aspects of safety, that's going to help your ankles, your feet, your skin, and everything. So my thing is, just read and just prepare yourself 5 minutes away or 1,500 miles away, just as if you were going wherever you're going. Prepare yourself.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I mean,
Welcome.
it's absolutely important. I can't even stress enough. After being in the hospital, after staying in the hospital, after going and see people in the hospital, and sometimes the most unfortunate, I mean, putting on some gear is easy.
Yeah, that's the easy part. That's right.
So we're gonna shift gears a little bit. Y'all like that shift gears, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna shift gears to the passenger. And Dion, you are no less than anyone else because you're the passenger right now, because you do bring a whole bunch of support to it and a whole bunch of different perspectives to this one too. So I am absolutely curious to see all the stuff that you bring to the table right now.
Well, listening to all of this, I can relate to every one of these stories. The safety aspect, when you said not wearing flip-flops. I remember when I first started riding with my husband, I didn't want to wear boots. And I'm like, why do I have to wear boots? I'm not you doing it. And I wanted to wear my flip-flops and everything else. And then I saw an accident. And now I don't go anywhere without my boots on. I went and started buying my jacket. I too was on your website, and I will be spending some money. So we can send a bill to my husband. But yeah, so I can certainly appreciate the safety aspect and the preparation of it. As passengers, we play a role in the ride, particularly if they're long rides, and you have to be mentally prepared. You have to be physically prepared. And all of these things I've learned the hard way, and there's a role in that. And so, like I said, I can certainly appreciate the safety aspect of it, the support function of it. I had to figure out where I fit in this world. I'm in the corporate world. I'm a mother. I'm used to being in control of everything, and I'm not in control. And so I had to figure out how I could support the organization where they could hear me, but recognize that it's, I'm supporting them, and I'm trying to and I recognize that through my support, the organization is better. I had to learn that I can't be in control. There's nothing I can do on the back of that bike but be on the back of that bike. And if it stops, I got to stop too. I can't make it go. Although I took the class, I might be able to make it go in a year or two. But I can't make it do anything other than be there. And so for me, that was really important because I needed that relaxation. I needed that time for myself. Like Candy was saying, I'm high strung. I am all over the place all the time. And I don't have to think about anything. My husband, he put in his CB radio and he said, you want me? You want it? I said, no, I don't need to talk to you. I'm good. you know, leave me, I'm good. You be up there, you do whatever it is you need to do. I'll tap you on your shoulder if you need anything. And so, but there is what I want passengers to know is that there is a place for you. You can make your way into this world. And that it's not, I mean, obviously you need the writer, but it's not all about the writer. And you can establish your own relationships with different people and friendships. And it's certainly it's a family. It's a community. I love the community service aspect of it. I'm always looking for things and coming home and saying, I think y'all should do this. We should do this. And so that people, you don't realize that when you're seeing those motorcycles running up and down Capitol Boulevard, that they're probably maybe on their way to some charitable event or coming back from some charitable event, and that the lifestyle is multifaceted, and you have executives and deans of universities. You have everybody from all walks of life just coming together, enjoying this one thing. And I think passengers can become writers one day. So be patient with us.
I was one. I was a passenger for a while. Yes. And I became a writer. So
Yeah.
Sometimes, it takes a little nudge,
Yes.
Definitely. I had my son years ago, he asked for a dirt bike for Christmas. So he got his dirt bike. And so him and Scooter out there riding. And so cute, they're riding together, out there. And I thought to myself, they gonna leave me in this house by myself? No. I said, I need to learn how to ride. So I'm not stuck in this house by myself. So yeah, it will, there's no rush. You have your whole, just take your time and you will, when you're ready, you will be ready and we will be here ready for you. So.
Sure. Yeah. But in the meantime, I'm very satisfied with my place in this world, my place in this organization. I don't feel like a second-class citizen or anything like that. So I it's just a welcoming community. And like Candy said, you meet people all over the country. We're at the gas station and just strangers come up and talk to you. Hey, where are you guys going? Where are you coming from? And, in some instances, you could make a lifelong friend. So I was just in awe of how all of the interactions and the inner workings of it. And there are rules to the chaos. And sometimes to me, it seems like it was like you guys weren't doing anything. But when I've been in experiences where it wasn't organized and it wasn't managed well, it frustrates me. So I recognize that, there's a way of doing things. Safety is important. Preparation is important. You can't just jump out there and just go. That's not how it works. I mean, a long ride could take months to plan out. And then it still may go wrong. You may think you're going to head that way and a hurricane will come or a bike may break down or something else like that. And you just have to learn to be flexible. And so it has taught me a lot and I've grown so much. I'm very grateful. So
Dion, I kind of pride myself on not being a passenger, but I'm gonna tell you now, it's more to being a passenger than just kind of sitting there. It's some coordination that you gotta kind of worry about, and it's a lot more complicated. What are some of the rules that your husband told you, like when you got in the back of the bike? Okay, I'm gonna tell you now, this is what we're gonna have to talk about. What was that like?
Number one, obviously, lean when I lean. I can't just get up there and start pointing all over the place. I mean, on the Go Wing, I'll have a little more flexibility because it's a little more stable. But when I'm on that Harley, I have to be in tune with what he's doing. When he stops, I have to be prepared for him to stop. My feet need to be on the back peg, so it's not in his way. Okay, we're going to take off. I got to hold on to him because he needs to be able to take off, and he can't be worried about me flying off the back. So it's definitely a dance that I've had to learn. And I struggled at first because I was just like looking at it and everything. He's like, look, we will both die on this bike. You better figure out. And so I have to pay attention and I have to watch him. And what's interesting is I've learned more, so I can tell when he messes up and he doesn't like that. Because when we stop, I'm like, what happened in that turn? So, but you do learn. And you have a role in that. I mean, you both are on there. I have to be his eyes and ears. He may not see something. I may see something off to the right. So I'm not grabbing him, but I know I can like gently tap him and try to get his attention. So I'm there too. And so he and I have to work together to get there safely and come back.
That's such an intimate thing too, because I don't think people realize how much coordination goes into it, right? I mean, you summed it up perfectly when you talked about the dance, because it really is. I mean, that's the ultimate level of trust when you get to know that I'm going to do what you do, and to give them that control. That says something right there. I'm going to trust you to follow your lead and do exactly what you do. And if I see something, I'm going to help you out. Not grab, not take control, but I'm going to gently alert you to so that you can make the right decision. I mean, that right there just says a mouthful for me.
And sometimes you just have to trust them. There's sometimes where he's trying to get out of a situation and he may take off faster than I was prepared to. And I just have to, I can't panic, because if I panic, he's going to panic. So I have to just trust and ride through it and just say, okay, we're going to do this. And then, we'll get through it and we'll talk through it. But you have to make sure that their attention is on the road, and you can't be a distraction to them. And if you are going to be a distraction, then I would much rather have him ride on his own than us both go down.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, has there moment when you got to your destination and you were like, doggone it, why did you do that?
There are those moments. But it may be something that he, as a more experienced as a writer, may have seen that I didn't see. But one of the things that, I can ask questions. And so, and he'll say, oh, well, I did that because of this. Okay. And then I'm on the lookout for it. And believe it or not, it has made me a more defensive driver as well, because I'm always looking for those side streets and people breaking funny or doing weird stuff. And so I think overall, it's just I'm just safer on the road because of it. So.
No, that's absolutely true. One of the things, I was actually riding for the last couple of weeks, or playing around, not really playing around, but I was riding the last couple of weeks. And one of the things that I was taught was that, it was reinforced that you look for the things that you've experienced before, right? And so if you know from wisdom, from experience, hey, I'm going down this road, I could possibly look out for a deer, whatever the case may be, you're going to be a little more alert, more aware, and you're going to be looking for those things. And because you're looking for those things, you're going to be riding a little bit more cautiously, a little bit more carefully, not going to be speeding or anything else like that. And that, so that's huge, to be able to recognize that and actually follow that and internalize that so that you're a better driver.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, this is a great culture lifestyle to join. I am an advocate. That's why I call myself. I'm an advocate of this lifestyle. Anybody who's interested in it, I talk their ear off. And, I tell them about all the wonderful experiences that I have and all the wonderful experiences, that I'm looking forward to doing. And I'm just, it has brought my husband and I closer together, because this is something that he and I can do together, so it's hard, couples don't always have hobbies that they both enjoy. And this is something that, where can we go? And it's just us, and we're off and we're doing our thing and we're just having a good time, and we're talking and we're planning, and there's something to look forward to. This is awesome. I'm just very, very happy. So
Absolutely. So I'm going to toss this out there to any ladies, and you guys can feel free to answer if you're not. So what do you think is the biggest misconception about women riders?
I would probably say that one of the biggest perceptions that I get is that we don't know anything. Like people are shocked when, because let me back up just a little bit. So I'm not really a car person, right? So, I see a nice car. Oh, babe, look at that purple car. I don't know if it's a Dodge. I don't know if it's a Chrysler. I don't know, right? And so sometimes because we are not seen out there as much, you see a woman on a bike, you just think, oh, she's just riding a bike. No, like, this is my life. This is my 2014 F6B black with the speaker in the system. Like, I picked everything out on this bike because I wanted it on this bike, because it's mine, and so I feel like sometimes, or you ride with a group, right? You may be one or two of the females that are riding in that group. And, my favorite thing is curves. So you hit this curve and you be leaning all into it. And then all of a sudden they shocked, like, well, no, I mean, I'm riding. Aren't you leaning into the curve? That's what I got to do too, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's still this, oh my gosh, she's writing. I mean, we have children. We are capable to bring life into this world. Yes, I can ride a motorcycle, pumpkin. Like, don't get that twisted. So that's just for, it's like sometimes, they try to kind of belittle you a little bit. It's like, no, that is mine. Scoot's out, he's out all the time, and he's on his bike. And it's not until I pull up where they're like, oh, that's yes, that's my bike. Oh, we all walk out of a restaurant and there's the line of bikes, and when I'm walking to my bike, all of a sudden everybody, pauses and looks. It's like, yeah, it's mine. Yes, I can ride it, so that's kind of for me what I would say.
Absolutely. I have a comment on here that says attention seeking more than having genuine passion for the lifestyle. I mean, I think that's interesting. Sometimes people automatically think, oh yeah, she don't really like bikes, or she's not really into this stuff. She just wants some attention. And I think that's a valid point. That's a common thing that's not accurate at all. Because I mean, a lot of women, they're in there because of the love. I don't think people understand that attraction to motorcycles sometimes, right? I mean, that's a passion out there. And so just like men can kind of catch that motorcycle bug, women can do that too, right? Yeah. It happens to us all the time. So with that said, if I want to embrace that and actually do everything I can to kind of, nurture that passion, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to join a motorcycle club or whatever it is, because I really do want that camaraderie, I really do want that sisterhood, I really do want that family or what have you, then that's what I'm going to do. It's not necessarily just about attention or I'm going to look like this or do this or get this. Sometimes it's like, hey, this is a path I'm choosing to walk because this is a choice I'm making. It's my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I ain't mean to steal that from nobody. Go ahead, ladies. Who else got that? Anything else that you're like, what's the craziest thing that a guy's ever said to you when you roll up on a bike? Or I'm sorry, crazy thing never thought. I know sometimes I get like, what you gonna do with all that bike?
Yeah.
I'm riding. Hello, it's an R1. Just supposed to do it.
That's generally the thought process of, I would say the insecure male.
Yes.
Ooh, I wasn't gonna go there, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Well, we being honest here. But yeah, I mean, just, just having the opportunity to, kind of get out there and show them as well as yourself. I mean, because honestly, most of us are not about really having to prove ourselves to a man.
Mhm.
It's more so about, just empowering yourself and proving to yourself that you can do this. You can ride a motorcycle. You can learn how to ride a motorcycle. You can learn, if you wish to, how to, prepare it for a long distance ride. You can learn to do your own oil changes and maintenance if you wish to, or, you can pay somebody else to do it and take it down the street. But you can do whatever you want to do. And that's something that I think, honestly, because women are doing so much more in the lifestyle and so much more just in writing in general, I think that's something that's probably going to be seen, in the upcoming years, is that you will probably see. I mean, it will go from being a predominantly male scene when you go to take it to, to get serviced or whatever. You won't just see the man come out and get it and take it in the back and do what he's got to do to it, for whatever you took it there for. You will probably see more women doing some of those things because we can. Who's to say that you can't, change your tires and, like I said, do your oil change or do your service, for a long distance trip or something like that. You can learn all of those things. And that's what I'm hoping that, the little girls that are coming along that are watching us are empowered to want to do, if you wish to. I mean, it's not to say that has to be your career, but it can be something that you learn and that you just tinker with on the side. It's not that, it's all Barbie dolls and lipstick all the time. I mean, sometimes you can get your hands dirty, but then you can also dress up in a dress and be a prom girl too.
Absolutely. So Candy, I know I'm going to say Queens of Chrome, Candy. I know, since you're the president, what are some of the things that you're faced with sometimes? I mean, in this very male dominated scene. I bet you it's a mouthful.
Well, most of the time I ride a Harley Road Glide, so one of the bigger touring bikes, and I'm 5 foot tall with heels on probably. But I have struggled with, I have had about 5, 6 bikes, from the 600, 929 to 2 Hayabusas, a Softail, and now this, my Road Glide. But my ultimate bike is that Honda, honey. I'm coming, Candy. But to me, the most challenging thing as a female rider is guys just thinking, just like what B said, you know what you're doing with that? Can you handle all that bike? Things like that. But when you get out on that highway, just like what Candy said, and you in those curves and you kick back on that bike and you doing just as good as them, they're like, dang, girl, you can ride that bike. Sometimes we just, as women, have to prove ourselves out there on that road. Not saying you have to ride faster than your angels, your guardian angel, but as far as like show those guys, look, you got the right one. We female riders, we out here doing it. We know what we're doing. Don't play with me, boo boo. Play with you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just as far as with me being a president and with my girls, just mentoring them. Especially, I have a couple of new riders. Mentoring them, encouraging them to not be self-conscious. Know your bike, know your ride, know your level of riding, and because all that comes with time, the experience, the way you handle things, it all comes with time. And from what Lucky has, my sister, I always appreciate her, because what she has instilled in the girls is to learn the safety aspect of it, learn your bike, get acclimated to it, so when you do have that low self-esteem man come up and ask you what you doing on that big thing, girl, you already say, I'm riding my ride. Now you can either join me or I'm gonna leave you at the stoplight. And that's what you do.
All right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, every time you want to ride, I gotta stop back there first.
Well, ladies, I'm gonna tell you now, this has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm so grateful that you're able to join us tonight. and share your perspective, share your stories, and really just kind of, let us get to know you.
Yeah.
So I know we had in preparation for this, we had a whole list of topics that we can just sit here and talk about. So we'll probably be back a little bit more, a few different topics, but I'm gonna tell you now, it's been a treat. It's been a treat. So from Sport Bike Chic, from Buds Foundation, I wish you all the best. Again, thank you for joining. We went a little bit over time, but I'm gonna tell you now, I barely noticed just because you guys are so interesting, or you ladies are so interesting. So thanks for all that you're doing out there, and absolutely keep it up. Any final words? Final thoughts?
Check out sportbikechick.com.
Always.
I'm already that. All right.
My husband always said, shiny side up, rubber side down. So
Yeah.
just be safe out there, wear your gear, all the time.
Yes.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, take care, everyone. Love you. Take care, and ride safe. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.